Right, we're underway. Kia ora, everybody. Sitting here with Joe Edlington. You look like you've been doing a little bit of the business there behind us, Joe. Before we
Yeah, I've just finished up at the moment. Good stint of editing, so working on a tar hunt at the moment, and 8 o'clock at the moment. So I've been working on it all afternoon.
So the office floor's covered in cutouts, is it?
No, unfortunately not. It's just that computer screen behind me. All that cluttered stuff you can see is all bits and pieces of something. I've got to make sense of it.
Yeah, mate. So what did you get up to over the weekend? I saw you managed to take your dog for a walk. What beach was that on, man?
That's actually just a local beach here near home, Nangaroo. It's called. It's on the Tutukaka coast. So that's just a place I like to go and basically, relax, take my mind off anything, and just go for a stroll on the sand. It's quite a nice little stretch. You can probably do a kilometre walk on the sand and hardly meet any people on the way. And yeah, it's quite good. It's a good place to go. Good place to relax,
Yeah. And is your dog any good in the bush, or just good for walks on the beach?
Oh, well, that dog there is actually, he's an old retired hunting dog of mine. So he hunted for probably 10 years, I suppose. Caught me thousands of pigs, a lot of good boars. He's just definitely the best dog I've ever had in my life. So he's retired with me now, and he chills out by the fire, and he goes on the easy missions. He likes to go fishing with me nowadays. So when I chase a kingfish, he's normally there with me. So yeah, as far as catching the boars, yeah, he's had his days of that. He's getting pretty old now.
Nice. When you go fishing, is that with a rod, or you jump in the water?
No, that's it's all land-based topwater fishing. So it's fishing rods and reels, targeting kingfish is mainly what I do this time of year, this summertime.
Fantastic. So you sent me through a bit of a link to a preview that's going to be coming out shortly, and is that the video that you've entered in the Seeker Film contest? Was that right?
That's right. Yep. Wild Boy the Journey is what we're calling it. So it is a big journey. It's been a journey getting that stag. So yeah. What did you watch it? What did you think of the film?
Mate, I loved it, and I was glad that you said put on some headphones, because what have you done to get such an awesome sound of New Zealand native bush?
Well, so that particular evening we were actually blessed. It was the sun was setting. I was getting that golden hour, and the bird life in that particular area was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. So when we were hunting, we were me and Joe Fluidy were looking at each other like, it's not normal, but man, how cool is it? Yeah, just the bird life was going ridiculous. So obviously my microphone was picking up a lot of this. When I was editing that film, I had birds chirping in my mind all through the night, lying in bed, and I could still hear the buggers. So yeah, but it was pretty cool, wasn't it? But it was just one of those evenings. Everything was out talking. Just perfect bird evening, I guess. So we just happened to be strolling around through it.
Yeah, and I guess for when it does come out, people need to look into the into the out of focus shot as well. When you've got the slow-mo of the stag looking into the out of focus shot, you can see a couple of fellow bucks there going, "What the heck's going on?" as well. So it was all on that evening, wasn't it?
It was. A little mob of young fellow bucks all mobbed up. They didn't really feature on the film. There was a bit of footage of them actually feeding into that particular scene, but when I was editing it together, it didn't quite fit. It didn't flow as good, so I basically just left them out. But you do get to see them in there. But it was a pretty cool evening. So that I don't know if you want me to talk about that particular stag or not, but that's a big journey to get that stag. It's about.
Love to hear the background of the stag, because on that video you just sort of say that it's wild, and what's the deal?
so really, I'll try to keep it short. It's a long story, but I'll
go for it. Spin it out.
Okay. Oh well. So about 4 years ago, we were on the wild side hunting safaris, North Island property, the stag property. There's fallow deer and stags and things. Awesome property, but it's surrounded by public land. And 4 years ago, a little scrubby young red stag ended up on the property. And, this is a property that's got really good genetics, estate type stags. And all of a sudden there's this scrubby little 8-pointer running around, little bush stag, real dark and dark grey body on him and real bush stag. So he turned up and we noticed him one day in the raw. He was walking around and he was out of place, but he quite liked it because there's lots of food and lots of girls and all sorts of stuff. So anyway, that first year, Joe and Joe was trying to hunt him, but it was his ex-girlfriend at the girlfriend at the time. They were trying to get the stag together. It was going to be her first stag sort of thing. So they would go out and try hunt down the stag. And this is in a pretty big area. There's a lot of bush and a lot of places it could be. And they'd never see it. They'd never see the stag every time they'd go out. And then me and Gerald, who would be guiding every day in the area, we'd often see it, We'd be sneaking along with some clients. And next thing, there's the wild boy. There's that wild boy just over there.
What do you tell the clients, mate? Like, just ignore that one?
Because like the guys that come and hunt with us, and I'd imagine I'd speak for everyone. The guys that come and hunt New Zealand, they're pretty excited to see anything. So we were just telling them how it is. This is it's a public land stag that's ended up in here. So it's not on the menu. And most of the time, we'd actually tell them that Joe and his girlfriend were trying to get it, sort of thing. So it was kind of, a lot of people knew about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it was. Me and Gerald would always see the stag, and we weren't trying to find it, but we just happened to always bump into it. And we'd text Joe, and then he'd go and hunt it, and just be unlucky, he wouldn't see it. So that was the first year, and then the second year, the stag was still around. He decided he didn't want to go anywhere else, so he sort of hung around, and obviously grew another year older and slightly bigger 8-pointer now, and starting to get, he's not just a young stag anymore. Still young, but he's not like a little fella. So, excuse me, Joe and Angie were still trying to get the stag, and pretty much the same thing happened. And they'd just be unlucky with it. I think they had a couple of opportunities, but didn't quite. Nothing solid, nothing sort of lined up for them. So that was another year gone by. Now, year number 3, Joe is now by himself, and he decides that he really wants to get Wild Boy. That's the name that stuck with him. Wild Boy is just, that's all he can think about. He wants to get Wild Boy, and he wants to get him with his bow. So
how long had he been bow hunting at that stage, or was that?
Joe's been bow hunting a long time.
Long time. Yeah.
Most of his big game hunting life ever since he was really young. So he's experienced bow hunter. He knows what he's doing. But he thought that he could shoot the stag with a rifle. It'd be awesome. But he said, there's a lot that's gone into the stag, and a lot of memories and a lot of ups and downs and sort of stuff. So he thought, I'm going to make it even harder, and I'm going to try and get it with a bow, and we'll just see what happens. So year number 3, Joe's out there with the bow, and this year he was a pretty nice looking 12-pointer. He'd grown pretty good, good food and all that sort of stuff helped him, and he was grown into quite a nice looking stag, just a good typical 12-point red stag, really nice. So me and Gerald, I think the first time we saw him was probably about a month into the season. So the red stag raw was on, and we hadn't seen him. We weren't even sure if he was still there. He might have gone back to where he originally come from or whatever. And I remember one morning we were hunting along. Actually, I think I was actually filming this particular hunt. Gerald was guiding, and we were driving along in the truck, and we had the client with us. And next thing, the stag just leapt across the road in front of us. And as we're driving through, some forest, and the stag leapt across the road and up the other side and just disappeared over the brow. But we got to see it well enough that we identified it as Wild Boy. So the hunt was on, kind of thing, for Joe. And he actually, after really studying the stag for quite a while, he saw it at a distance, but never really got any action happening. But he started to sort of pattern him and found out where he was and, which forest areas he was living in and, what his sort of habits were. And eventually this led Joe into a really good position. And Joe managed to sneak up and sort of cut Wild Boy off as he was moving across a face. And this is still in the raw, the stags were raw and there's hinds everywhere and, all cool sort of action. And Joe found himself within bow range. He drew back when the opportunity came and he let an arrow fly. And so this arrow actually impacted him in the ideal spot. And but it must have hit a bone or something because it was a complete deflect. It had a gash in the skin, but unfortunately it was nowhere near life-threatening. So Joe was devastated. He actually took a photo of Wild Boy running off, and then the next day we saw him roaring. So he wasn't hurt at all.
Yeah.
So this is year number 3. Now Joe had another crack at him the next opportunity he got, but he didn't get another arrow away basically. So so that was year number 3 gone. Now year number 4, which is this year right now, the plan was, all Joe could think about was Wild Boy. And this is Joe Fluity. I'm not sure if any of your listeners have seen Joe Fluity around, but a lot of the past videos I've made, Joe's the main hunter in it. So me and Joe do a lot of stuff together. But so year number 4. Now Joe, after he actually hit the stag with that arrow, all of us back at camp, we felt the pain in the poor fella. It was a big deal basically. So year number 4 was another year of pretty hard out guiding for us, and we were wondering if we were going to see Wild Boy again because we hadn't seen him over the summer, or we weren't even sure if he was still in the area or what the story was. But he ended up turning up. Can't remember, it must have been about April or something like that. Mm-hmm. And Joe went out there to have a crack at him, but couldn't quite. He couldn't find him, or something happened. But we carried on our guiding, and then I sort of was talking to Joe about it, and we decided that there's so much history in this one stag and all this hunting that Joe's done on him. We should really try and capture this all on film, and just make something of it. So that was the plan. And then the first opportunity we got, we had a week without clients. I think Gerald was guiding. I wasn't. So me and Joe, we did a bit of scouting, and we managed to pretty well figure out that he's there and he's roaring, and he's a lot tougher this year than he has been in the past. He grew into a nice 14 pointer, and there was no sign of the previous injury, and this year he was actually a really good looking stag. So he was holding hinds and everything, we found. But so we managed to really pattern him and figure out exactly what he was doing, how he was traveling, when he was feeding, and basically his little patch, his little territory. And so then this is where part 1 of the Wild Boy film comes in.
Yeah.
So we're out there. It was an evening hunt, as you would have seen in the video. We didn't get out there that early. We thought, let's get out, with that last hour of light or so, and we get into the area that we're sort of thinking that we might see him. Sort of where we've been seeing him lately and seeing signs from him and stuff. And I don't know. Do we want to talk about it too much? I suppose at the moment the film is actually in that Rod and Rifle hunting film tour. And after that goes live, the film's going to be on YouTube. So I suppose, what do you want me to say?
I think leave it there, because I'm lucky enough to have seen it, and I think it's worth watching, mate. What you're saying about how it sort of set up its own territory, started holding hinds. What do you sort of think from the management perspective? A stag like that, as it starts to compete with others, is there a chance that these bigger state stags with massive showing sort of bump him out and he goes away, or like I said, he started to hold his own a bit?
Yeah, so what we sort of figured out with him is that in the earlier years, he was younger, he was smaller. The stags that are in the area are tough, and they're not stags from a farm or anything like that. They are in a fenced and enclosure, but they're not. These stags all year round, they don't get any human interaction apart from the hunting. So they grow out their velvet, they cast their antlers, all this sort of stuff, and they live in the bush and all sorts of things. So these stags are pretty tough animals. He didn't want a bar of them in the start. He was happy to stay with the spikers and the young fellas
and eat the food.
For the first couple of years, he was happy. He was happy with the spikers and all the young guys. So, but then this year number 4, it was a massive turning point for him, and he actually became fairly aggressive and fairly dominant. And to hold, we saw him. I think the most we ever saw him with was 5 hinds or 4 hinds and a yearling or something like that. But he would have a group with him at times. So the fact that he had some females sort of showed that he meant a bit of business. He wasn't just going to be a pushover and things like that. So as far as a management sort of thing goes, it's not the sort of stag we want around for the the quality of stags that are on the property for the international hunters. But the fact that he was Joe's stag is what sort of kept him there, the fact that he was wild boy sort of thing. So yeah, but it was actually quite cool to see him sort of stepping up and creating a bit of dominance for himself and having his own little patch. And the patch that he had is a beautiful little spot. So I think he might have actually slipped in there after we took out a big stag out of there early season, and
right.
that stag sort of, that was his patch. We nicknamed him Marco. He was like we saw him a number of times before the hunter actually got him, and he was a stag that's, I don't know if you've ever seen a photo of a Marco shark when you're looking front onto them, and they just look like a barrel with little stubby fins, just big solid looking thing. Yeah, this stag was solid, big massive neck on him, and we called him Marco.
Nice.
And anyway, so once Marco was out of the picture, we think that's when maybe Wild Boy slipped in there and decided that he was going to take claim. But yeah, beautiful little spot, and as you probably saw in some of those visuals, it's a cool little area, and he was. Well, we were pretty lucky to be able to hunt him in that area, in that part of the property. So
yeah, man, it was pretty fantastic. One thing I had a flick through of a few other of your videos, and you've got one there of a charging stag, and it just going around the bush, barking it up and kicking off younger stags and stuff. Is that something that you really try to get across in your videos? Like, obviously, you got that bird song over the soundtrack, but then the actual behaviour and what you're dealing with, and what a wild animal actually looks like. I loved it that you got that across. Is that something you've focused on purpose, or what?
That particular video you're talking about is, I just had a bit of fun when I was actually editing that. That was a morning hunt, and I was guiding a bow hunter from somewhere. Can't remember where he's from, Idaho or something. And anyway, we had that experience. That was actually quite a cool experience of that particular stag. We never managed to get him into bow range. I actually called him into 50 yards with a hind call, but that was just out of the range sort of thing. And so but we got to, leading up to that moment, we got to excuse me, we got to see that stag working his hinds, and he was actually, I don't know if you realized in the video, he had 2 younger spikers just patrolling around the outskirts of where he was with his hinds. And, you know, they were just trying to sneak in there, and I guess they were trying to whisper away some of his girls, you know. So him being a big dominant stag, he was just patrolling the area, and he was just giving it to them, eh? He was just charging out after them. And yeah, man, we were perched up in the edge of this little patch of bush, and he was in the middle of a clearing with those big, you know, big old growth trees in the middle. And then there was another patch of bush behind that sort of circled around. So he was basically in a bit of a clearing in the middle of the bush. And we were just on the edge of it, you know. And so we got to see some pretty cool stuff. But, you know, for me, that's the magic, seeing the animals doing their thing and interacting and roaring and fighting and chasing each other. That's the sort of stuff that stands the hairs on the back of my neck up.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, with that little video, I had such a cool experience that morning with the guys and with those animals. I thought that, you know, I'll try and create it in that short video. It's not long. What is it, 3 minutes long or something? But it just sort of shows a few of the moments that sort of stuck in our minds. So yeah, that was cool. That was a morning hunt, that one, and that was actually another morning where the birds were just going ballistic. So yeah, that time of year, on a sunny night or morning, the bird life's cool, man, and that's a big part of the experience, eh?
Absolutely. And so with that, you talk about, you know, the old stand trees and the clearings and stuff. And obviously, if you guys are wanting to get the genetics to really show up, you need good feed for them. How is, not to use the term farmed, but how is it sort of managed and farmed and the tree species sort of looked after? And obviously, there's plenty there for them, so many birds to take hold. And is there many pests going on the property as well?
Pests? No, there's so it's a hunting property. Yeah, there's no pests. There's very little possums and things, rabbits. There's a few rabbits and stuff, but you know, there's no goats, pigs, or anything like that. There's crops and all sorts of stuff. Good feed for the deer, especially in the off season. So yeah, it's a pretty well put together property, that's for sure, for the hunting. Yeah, and it suits bow hunters and stuff like that. And wildside hunting safaris have really done a lot of work with bow hunting in the years gone by because of this property. So yeah, I love to hunt on it. I love to guide on it. I think I've guided on there for 5 years now, or something like that, maybe 6 years or something. And yeah, just it's cool, man. It's a cool experience there, eh? It's so cool.
Yeah, it looks a pretty special place. So how does the sort of guiding start for you, mate? Obviously I heard about you from the Educated Hunter who hosts the Ultimate OE, which one time at university I was pretty keen on doing that, but as I said to Matt Gibson, life happened to me and I didn't make it. But what was sort of the guiding journey for you, mate?
The guiding journey for me would probably, I don't know. I suppose ever since I was a wee kid, you know, they always ask you, what do you want to be when you're older? You know, when you're at school, you might be 5 years old or something. Yeah, a hunting guide was, I think it was a hunting guide and a shepherd. I also really wanted to be a shepherd, but it was one of the two, and I thought that I'd definitely do one or the other. And as I grew older, the hunting was massive for me, and I really wanted to be a hunting guide. It's not something that I was just dreaming of. It was something that I really wanted to make happen. So yeah, in the early days, I was doing a lot of pig hunting, and ended up starting to take a few people out, and I used to make a lot of old videos. You know, they're pretty crude old videos, but they were worth a watch for content, I suppose. You know, if you're looking to follow along for a hunt, you could do it and see the boys get on to some good pigs. So anyway, people started to watch this, and people started to ask, can we come hunting with you? So it started off back then, I guess. I'd take a few guys out, and then we'd have a bit of action, and it's all good fun, you know. And then there came a point where actually Gerald Fluidy, who I'd been in contact with a wee bit, he asked me if I wanted to come and guide for him for this big hunt that he had coming up, and I said yeah, of course. And this was a bow hunt, so I was guiding a bow hunter for a couple of deer, and it was sort of, at the time, it was in the middle of, I'd just come out of a field and wapiti block with Rory Gentle and his dad Brendan, and I think I came up after the wapiti to do the guiding with Gerald, and it was awesome. It was like it was unreal. I remember finishing up with them, and it was just such a great experience, and I was buzzing over it. And I think after that, the hunting hadn't obviously finished, and we went to the South Island, did some stag hunting and stuff like that. And so, but the whole time I was just thinking, man, I had such a good time up there with Wildside and doing the guiding. So that was the first of it. And then every year I'm guiding for Gerald and filming and doing all sorts of stuff. And over the years, the camera side of it's gotten more and more. And the last 5 or 6 years, the camera's probably overtaken the guiding as far as the passion goes for me.
Nice, mate. And so, how does this sort of camera work start in the guide? Because obviously, it's when you talk about, people come from Idaho, they've come out here to do possibly something that's once in a lifetime, but for some of them, it's just a massive thing and a massive effort and a massive investment, regardless. It's a no-brainer to then get somebody to prepare an awesome film. When did that sort of come about, that, hey, we're going to offer this service as well as the guiding?
I'm not too sure when it came about, but I guess it was just one of those things that just progressed into that. Because a lot of the guys that were coming over, they do really, they absolutely love their time here. And then to have the thought there that they could have it filmed and relive it forever was just like, we got some pretty cool feedback on that, eh? So, and there was, there's a number of guys out there filming hunts, stuff like that, especially overseas. So it's not like it's the first time it's ever been done. This has been happening for a long time. But all the people I've ever dealt with have just been, they're so happy that they got their hunt filmed, and they might have shot a stag or a big fallow buck or a big bull tar or whatever it was, which is an awesome experience in itself. But then to be able to relive it all on video was just it was just took it a whole nother level for them. So hearing all this sort of feedback from the hunters is quite good, and I guess it sort of fueled the passion for me for the camera side of what I do. And ultimately I would love to be full-time running cameras and not so much guiding. I love the guiding, but the cameras and the editing that's really cool, and I really enjoy it.
Nice. So you're a bit different to Matt Gibson and Cam Henderson then, because they hate the editing. So what is it about you? What is it about you that you can sit there for hours and then get the storyboard up, chop out half of it, and create something that tells an awesome story?
Oh yeah, I don't know, man. It's funny you say that, because every camera guy I know, and Cam's told me about it as well. But the editing is definitely not the fun part. But I guess I don't know why I like it. I just like this time of year. I'm back up north. The hunting season's finished, so I'm back up at home on the coast, and my days at the moment are just on the computer going through old hunts. So like this one I'm working on at the moment, this is pretty special hunt that was actually for a real nice guy from Pukekohe, actually. And he's had the dream of getting a big bull tar, a big one. We're talking 13 plus 14-inch sort of bull. That was the dream of his. And we've had the pleasure of hunting with Matt before. I guided him last year on a giant fallow buck, which was pretty special. And he got a stag with Joe and Gerald. And then this year he come back and he's looking for this tar. And he's a real nice, humble guy, and he's always said, a bull tar of any sort is a trophy for him, but he's always had the dream of a giant one. So yeah, we hunted pretty hard, and as it played out, we ended up getting a giant bull for him. So it was unreal. And the best thing about it is I was filming this hunt, and the footage that we got, I would say hands down, it's the best tar hunting footage I've ever got in my life. And it was a giant bull, and it was for a guy that is such a good guy. So for me, that's pretty special there. And so when I get home and then when I place it all up on the screens like this, and I'm working through it, I guess I remember back to all these good times, and it makes it a bit easier, and it makes me want to do it, if you know what I mean. So yeah, don't know what else to say, but that's, the editing can be fun, I guess.
Absolutely. So just on there, and you talked about, it's the best you've ever done, and for those out there know that I'm pretty beginner to the hunting thing. It was sort of growing up in Southland, something that was always an idea to do, but never happened until I finished uni, and even then it's been sort of a weekend here, weekend there. Lots of rugby got in the way, and our family's in the way. But with the hunting, and especially on somebody that's being guided, I take it you can't be like, can you just set that up again? What are your skills like, and how are you sort of? I guess with the guiding mentality, you're trying to be a step ahead of the hunter as well, and try to figure out what they should be looking for, and what behaviour and scenes and the nature and stuff is out there, and so you're I guess capturing that. Is that right? You're sort of the ghost that's trying to be the life as well.
Yeah, I guess you're bang on there. So yeah, with my guiding experience, I do feel that I know what's happening, and I know what I should be filming, and what's about to happen and stuff. So that does help me massively. And like in a hunt like this, most of the time it's just run and gun. It's film it as it happens, but there does come times where you can get a certain scene refilmed. But for the bulk of the action and the bulk of the natural stuff, the real good stuff, it happens there and then, and you only get one shot at it. So I don't know how I do it, but I guess I figured out a way to know how to capture these certain scenes and stuff. So it does make it easier when you sort of know what's going to happen, I guess. But don't get me wrong, there is lots of scenes that we do refilm, like maybe a little talking scene that I wanted to capture but didn't quite capture, or someone talked over it at the same time. I might ask someone to repeat that if they don't mind, sort of thing. So there is scenes that do get refilmed, but the bulk of what we're doing is it's all natural.
Lovely. And so what's it like, for guiding in New Zealand? You imagine the big guys coming in from Idaho, or big station owners or business people coming over. What's it like dealing with the domestic customer? What's their motivation for tapping into that guiding market?
What's the hunter's motivation for coming over, are you saying?
I know. So for the, like you said, the guys from Pukekohe, what are you sort of getting from domestic clients?
Well, basically, if anyone wants to go hunting, then we'll take them out, sort of thing. So I'm sure that's most outfitters in New Zealand, but Wildside guides a fair number of Kiwi hunters all through the Raw and things like that. It's not the mainstay is the international guys, but a number of Kiwi guys do come and hunt, and also throughout the rest of the year. Not so much just the peak, but like this particular year now, 2019. We guided Matt, and then we also had another guy from Rotorua or somewhere like that come and do a stag hunt in the Raw, and there's the Kiwi guys do love to do it, and if I'm going to talk about it in a way, well, let me put it this way, Matt himself, he's done a lot of hunting himself, but it's easier for him. You know, he runs a big business up in Pukekohe and all this sort of stuff, and it's easier for him to get the help of a guide to get him into the areas, get him onto the animals and stuff like that, because, you know, Matt's a real busy guy and he's only got a short window where he can actually go and do these sort of things. So he'd hate to, well, I don't want to put words out there that he wouldn't say, but I'd imagine that he'd hate to take 2 weeks off work in April, try and go away for a stag hunt, and realize, you know, he's gone into the wrong area, or they're not quite roaring over here, or something like that. So yeah, we get a lot of guys that just want a helping hand to get their get their animals, get their action, get their experiences.
No, that makes complete sense, because, you know, I'll openly admit that nothing's come up trumps for me in the wild just yet, and you know, I've got a couple on the backs of farms, but for me it's the actual hunting experience which is key, and yeah, getting out there if you don't have much time and you're a busy person, like you say, investing 2 weeks off work, especially if you're the one paying yourself, makes complete sense. And that brings me to something that I sort of disagreed with Cam on, and it's funny enough that the week after him and I had the podcast conversation, that rod and rifle video competition came up, and I sort of said to him, are we at a place in New Zealand where we can have a hunting film competition? He's still like, oh no. And then I said to him, well, you know, guys like myself, and obviously clearly guys like Matt that you're talking about, who don't get out there every week, or aren't living hunting as a dream, you know, we love sitting down for half an hour or 40 minutes, or if you're watching Paul Michael's video, 2 hours, watching somebody else hunt and get the vibe of it. Where's your position? Because I saw you did a little poll the other day on how long should you make a video, and you were thinking 10 minutes, but everyone said, no, 20, make it longer.
I think me personally, I spend probably the majority of my time at this time of year on the computer editing hunts and stuff like that, and I do find there comes a time at night where I'll switch off and I'll just watch some hunting and fishing on YouTube, and especially lately this has been happening more and more. But yeah, I'm quite happy to sit there and at the moment it's elk hunting. You know, all the boys over there are mad onto the elk at the moment, so I guess I'm sort of wanting to be there right now, but instead I'm watching videos of the guys out there chasing these bugling bulls. And I would like to have time on my hands, but I feel I don't have a lot of spare time on my hands, but I still manage to find a bit of time to watch some hunts and you know, some good fishing action and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm sure there is people out there that do want to watch videos and that do spend a good amount of time scrolling through YouTube and looking for hunting videos and stuff like that. So yeah.
What's the sort of filming community like in New Zealand? I know I've been catching up with a few of the guys from bow hunting down over, a few of the down under, sorry, their videos in Australia. Is there much of a, you know, community of filmers, or it's just kind of things that pop up on your feed?
Well, yeah, I guess we all seem to know each other.
Yeah.
You know, like you know, Cam's a good guy. I've dealt with Cam quite a bit for, you know, different things to do with his magazine and stuff like that, which may be happening in the future. And you know, Sam Wild. You know, a lot of the guys out there that are doing some cool stuff like that are, you know, we all seem to know each other. And although, you know, we don't get together and film and hang out in person, but yeah, I guess as far as the community goes, a lot of the guys out there that are doing a lot of filming and stuff generally know of each other. You know, will know each other enough to be constantly messaging and things like that at times. So yeah, I've got a lot of people that I'm always talking to about hunts they're filming and they're asking how hunts I'm filming, all sorts. But yeah,
I know, that's cool, mate. You said that sort of Gerald Flaherty gave you a tap on the shoulder, and I saw Venator Padrona Safaris are advertising for a guide. What, you know, somebody that does have 6 months to get out there and do it, what should they look forward to? What should they put forward to those guys, and what would be useful for them?
Yeah, well, I guess the main thing that a potential guide is going to want to have is some decent experience, some experience in a high pressure situation, and also probably the biggest one would be, well, not the biggest one, but a big deal is to have good people skills.
Mm.
You know, a hunter's not going to want to come all the way to New Zealand, even though I don't know how much you know about New Zealand in the world scheme, but New Zealand's a pretty respected hunting place in the world, and we get a lot of international clients coming through hunting all over the country every year. So they're not going to want to come to New Zealand and hunt with someone that doesn't have good people skills and doesn't make their experience enjoyable.
Mm.
So you know, all these outfitters in the country, if you're wanting to get a job as a hunting guide, a professional hunting guide, yeah, some good qualities that you're going to need to have to start off before they'll give you a proper look. You know, you definitely want to have good people skills, have good hunting experience, and then yeah, be able to handle high pressure situations. And yeah, those would probably be three decent starts anyway. But there's a New Zealand Professional Hunting Guides Association that you can actually learn a lot through, and I'm not too sure if you've heard of those guys, but yeah, they do a pretty good job and stuff like that. I haven't I think I've talked to Richard, but I haven't done the course or anything like that. But that'd be a good place to start. They teach you all the skills that you need to know, or that you're going to need to know, and they sort of give you a bit of a leg up. But yeah, guided hunting is definitely a good thing to do, but it can be very stressful, depending on the hunting that you're doing and the situation and the type of property and all these sort of things. So yeah, it's definitely not the easiest job out there as far as oh yeah, just a cruisy day today. You know, there's often high pressure situations, especially if you're looking at, you know, a fairly expensive hunt and stuff like that, and the animals aren't turning up. So you're the guy that's got the job to get the hunter in front of that animal. So if you're not doing that, then yeah, stress can build up. So yeah, it's one thing that a lot of guys don't realize. Being a hunting guide isn't, yeah, it can be stressful at times, but at the end of the day, it's still an enjoyable thing to do.
Nice. And so what would you say to the fitness side of things? You know, you're often the one that's scaling the trail. Is that a good thing to get out of the way so that, you know, you're not stressed about blowing out of your ass as well?
Yeah. Well, generally, I guess generally fitness comes with it. And like, you know, this year alone, I don't know how many days we hunted, but yeah, we hunted a good part of well, we've hunted a lot of days this year, and fitness comes with it, you know. So you get fit pretty quick, but yeah, if you're fairly badly out of shape at the start, you definitely want to try and get yourself to a level where you can handle it. A lot of the hunters that come and hunt in New Zealand, you know, they're not super able to. They're not mountain goats that are going to run up and down the mountains, sort of thing. But yeah, if you're not fit at the start of the season, you'll be bloody fit by the halfway point. Put it that way.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And so if you know, not going for the big ticket outfitter straight away, what would you suggest somebody do to get experience?
Yeah. Well, see, it's probably quite hard. It's not an easy thing to get into the scene, I guess. Knowing people in the industry helps a huge amount. But to gain experience in the parts that you need to, you know, in the parts that you need to work on, I'd probably recommend just say it's the raw, you know, say it's April. You've got a big hunting trip coming up. You know, you and a couple of your best mates that you grew up with, and you're going into the, I don't know, the Kaimanawas or somewhere. What a good thing would be to do, and I guess I did this when I was younger. Is I'd end up guiding my buddies, you know, Like a lot of the trips that we would do in my teenage years and early 20s and stuff like that. A lot of the trips that we'd do, I would never even shoot an animal or let a shot off. And I was quite happy because I was generally the one roaring the animals in and guiding, saying, yeah, let's go up this ridge here. And I reckon if we get around here, we'll be in a good spot. And I guess that if you almost work as a guide with your mates, obviously they're going to have to be okay with the situation. But that's one way to get some good experience, and that's one way to figure out if you actually like, if you still like the idea of being a hunting guide. If you can guide your mates onto animals, and you can handle the pressure of when that stag's coming in, and you feel the wind change on the back of your neck right at the crucial moment. If you can handle all these sort of things and then still make it work, still get the outcome you want from decisions that you've made. If you keep practicing stuff like that, you'll get all the skills you need to get. I guess I think that answers what you're trying to say.
No, it does. It's like you say, you sort of, you look at the industry and you look at the outfitters, and then you look at, like you say, there's the outfitting association and the likes of Holden at OE, but even then it's kind of like, well, how do you then join, like this job at Venator, going and hosting big people, and would you say that is part of the role, being a host?
Yeah, definitely. Yep. You're basically a buddy, a good friend for the hunter. You spend pretty much all your daylight hours and a lot into the night with the hunter, and so you actually, at the end of the week, you generally have a pretty good bond. You've made a good friendship most of the time, and so you're sort of, it's not just the hunting. Generally, for a big hunt, you'll hunt the daylight hours, and let's say you didn't get an animal that day, maybe you didn't get the opportunity, or you didn't quite find the animal you wanted. You'll get back to the lodge or the camp, or whatever you might be staying at, and then you're socializing with that hunter till most of the time. It can be anywhere from 10 o'clock at night, which would be an early night. But then, we've had some pretty late nights, just yarning and talking, and so that can be, that's a big part of it too. So it's not just the hunting; it's actually a lot of the social side of it.
Yeah, nice. And so then, to balance all this out, working in hunting, filming and editing and hunting, what do you do to sort of unwind? Is that where the fishing comes in?
So I guess, we're coming into the summer, and I'm back up north here. So I'm north of Auckland. I'm up on the Tutukaki coast. So lots of beaches and, lots of cool ocean and stuff like that. So for me, I'm pretty much coming into the time of year where I'll be, for every spare moment I get, I'll be chasing kingfish. And that's one way where I do unwind quite well. And I always look forward to the kingfish season. So that's pretty much my summer. And if the surf's good, I'll go surfing. So those are probably my two activities that keep me sane over the summer. But I guess to answer your question even better, so right now, pretty much my whole day and a good chunk of the night will be on the computer, just working on hunts and stuff like that. Sitting in my chair or kneeling on the floor, whatever I decide to do. So at the end of the day, I feel like I need to go and blow some steam and stuff. So that's when I'll go down to the gym and I'll do a workout and use a bit of energy and stuff like that. So I guess the gym for me is a place where I can go and really, really take my mind off everything. I don't think about editing. I don't think about nothing. I often tell people that the gym is my place to relax, and people laugh at me because it's, it doesn't make sense, but I guess it's my place to relax my mind. So like at home here, the computer's here, and I might be doing something and having dinner, and next thing I'll just think, I better just go and fix that transition, or I better go and put that little scene in there or something like that. And I'm always thinking about, I better go and do this. I better edit that piece. So to go fishing or to go surfing or to go down to the gym, that's just forget it. Just go and take your mind off everything for a bit. So that's my time to unwind.
Epic, man. And so, what's a workout or training look like for you in the gym?
Probably mainly just weights.
Yeah.
A little bit of, I normally do quite a bit of cardio at the start, but my workout is based around weights. Yeah, I don't know. That's just, I don't know. For some reason, I like to pick up heavy things and then put them back down again. So yeah, doesn't make sense, but anyway, it's a bit of fun.
It's good feeling, that's for sure. And what sort of surfing do you do? What's the waves like up at Tutukaka?
Well, in Tutukaka itself, no waves at all, but there's a lot of surf beaches nearby.
Yeah.
And then we've got so Whangarei is the nearest city, and I think the Whangarei city saying, or what they have on the billboards or whatever it is city of 100 beaches. So there's, if that's correct, I've never counted them, but apparently there's 100 beaches right here on the Whangarei coast, and up way up here in the top where it's not very far just to zip across to the west coast. So we've got no shortage of good beaches up here, and as far as the surfing goes, there's some really good surf spots up here.
And how's your temperature go up there most of the year, or do you get that cold flow for a bit?
It's definitely cold through the winter. I'm not normally here through the winter, but it's cold. It's uncomfortable sort of weather, but it's nothing like Central North Island or the South Island where you'll wake up and there's 10 centimeters of ice over a patch of water or something, So we can't up here. You can't compare the cold to down there, but it's still, you might put a pair of jeans on if you go outside instead of just shorts. So summertime, it's 30 degrees, something like that, but it's pretty nice weather, pretty settled. Most of the time I end up just, I don't know, shorts and a singlet and some jandals, and that's me over the summer.
Yeah, and with your wetsuit, do you end up in an 8 mil or a full will do it?
So for the surfing in the summertime, try not to wear a wetsuit at all.
Yeah,
it's just board shorts and no shirt, or maybe a rash top or something like that. But the water temperature gets pretty warm up here, so you can like we can surf all day long and not get cold in the main part of the summer. So it's definitely warm. I don't know, it's fairly tropical. I don't know if you've ever been right up here, but we got white sand, we got crystal blue water. It's actually quite nice over the summer.
We went to Monganui one summer. What was that? Just after I finished uni, so 2013, and we got a bit of rain, which was a bummer, but definitely the water was warm. It was good times.
Oh yeah.
Mate, so with all of this, how do you think you're going to find the time or allocate the time if somebody does take up on your passion for them to have you follow them around with a video camera and document one of these, plan for hunts?
Well, so you're talking like a full year sort of thing, or?
Oh no, like you were talking about with Curran Island, that you might follow somebody around on their raw hunt.
Oh yeah.
Their Wapiti block, or what's sort of the goal with that?
Well, as you probably figured out, I really love to film hunts and stuff like that, and I'd really like to see more just good genuine Kiwi hunters have their hunts filmed, because we get up to some pretty cool stuff here in New Zealand. We're pretty blessed with the country that we've got, from the mountains to the ocean and all that sort of stuff. So, you can guarantee that every weekend there's thousands of awesome experiences gone down throughout the country. So I'd love to see more and more Kiwi guys that are doing bigger hunts, like sort of hunts that they might only ever do once. I'd love to see them actually seriously consider filming it. So maybe we'll just have to see how that goes. Time will tell, I guess, whether or not it's something that becomes more mainstream.
Yeah, and I think you're on the right trend. Like I said, the guys bow hunting down under. They've got, I don't know, half a dozen videos of amazing quality of full journey hunts, and I see Jerry's over there with Adam Greentree chasing out now, so God knows what's going to come out next. But like I say, there's digging up some stuff that you filmed yourself that's content, and then there's having the full story told, and you focus on the hunting and have somebody focus on the footage. I think it's an epic idea.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like a lot of guys are definitely capable of filming it themselves. But yeah, if they can just take a step back and actually focus on the hunt and enjoy the moment, the experience, the bird sounds, the deer running around chasing each other, all the stuff we spoke about earlier. If they could just enjoy all that and not have to worry about, I better get that scene on camera and I better point my camera over here and film that bugger. I think people will really enjoy it if they did try it. So yeah, go hunting and then get someone else to film it, someone else to edit it.
That might be the biggest draw card. You're going to put it together.
Yeah, well, yeah.
No, that's fantastic.
Send it all to me if they want. I actually enjoy it. So yeah, it'd be quite cool to see some more Kiwi hunts out there.
No, it's wicked. That's what I was saying to Andre. For 5 years ago there was nothing, or maybe hunting out at all. But now we've got plenty of, not plenty, a couple of good guys on YouTube and 2 hunting shows, and now we've got a library of hunting magazines. It seems it's really, really cool to be a hunter at the moment and to find content and things that actually might teach you a thing or two. Like I said, that footage you had of that red stag chasing around and just getting to look at the behaviour and like you say, mobbing up with hinds and things, and the satellite spikers and what not to look for and what to watch out for when you're gunning on that big stag. It just adds to your knowledge, so that if you're ever in that situation, you might have a better chance of pulling it off. So yeah, I think what you're doing is fantastic, and the story and the footage and the real ethos behind hunting comes across so well, and yeah, love what you're doing, and I hope that there are some people out there that want to jump on that service and create something that's going to last a lifetime. It's wicked, man. Where do people find you? I found you Joe.wild on Instagram. Is there anywhere else? And of course your page.
Yeah, well, I pretty much only do stuff on Instagram now. I don't have Facebook anymore. Yeah, so Instagram's the place to find me, and it's j.e.wilds. Joe Edlington. You can find all my stuff on there. Basically, that's pretty much the one I keep updated. And then yeah, the YouTube channel for all a certain number of the hunts. Obviously, the bulk of the hunts don't go up on that channel, but yeah, there's some pretty cool ones that go up on there. So that's one place you can find. Yeah, when the Wild Boy film comes out after this hunting film tour is finished, that'll be up on YouTube there, and anyone can watch that. So a number of people have seen it, and so I've had some feedback. I really enjoyed, first of all, filming that hunt, and then editing that hunt was just that was awesome, man. It was such a cool one, and that's a special one for us.
Yeah, and so if people are looking at the wild side stuff, is that mostly yours?
No. Gerald, the owner of Wildside Hunting Safaris, is a very, very good photographer. Mm-hmm. So yeah, a lot of the images you'll see, in fact, probably all of them, unless he states otherwise, will be his on the Wildside pages. And also Joe Flutie, his son, is a really good photographer and a videographer. So there's a crew out there, mate. Yeah. But yeah, so carry on.
No, I was going to say, so you said Joe's into videography as well. Did that make it even easier to follow him around?
Joe, Joe will hate me saying this, but I see Joe as like a younger brother. But man, he's just so bloody annoying to film, eh? I'm going. He does really good, and he's I wouldn't ask for anyone else to be doing it with me. But for this one tar hunt behind me, for every serious scene, there's a blooper of him being just an absolute idiot. on the same thing, So yeah, it's awesome. It makes for such a cool experience. So there's lots of humour. Joe's just an absolute clown. He's also a very good hunter, and he also comes across very well on the videos as well. So he knows what to do, but he likes to have a laugh, and he likes to sort of draw it out a little bit with a bit of humour. So yeah, so it's all good, man.
Oh, wicked, mate. What would you like to leave people with, man? Whether that's in filming or in hunting, or yeah.
I don't know. I guess I just really like to see see a bit more Kiwi hunts out there. I'd like to see some guys really focusing on getting some of their big hunts filmed and on YouTube. Not doesn't have to be the fanciest edits and stuff like that, but if people keep putting some good quality hunts out there and some good content, it's really cool to watch. So yeah, just keep hunting, man. Keep hunting. Keep doing it, and get some video footage.
Legion. It's a bit like camp. Keep hunting. Keep doing it for the hunt. It's good. It's cool, man. love it when there's some synergy out there. Awesome, man. I'm going to press stop, and yeah, thanks so much.
Awesome, man. Thank you.